This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 254.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. The technology.
Why, hello everybody, this is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events, no WordCamps. Sad but true, still the case because we're so new in the year. There's nothing coming up this weekend or next weekend, I think, either. So end of the month, we'll see some, but this week, no WordCamps again. I recommend check out local meetups. Those are starting off again this year. And also check out WordCamp.tv because that might be a good time. This is a good time to go and watch some of the talks that you might have missed last year. So check that out. All right, moving on, segment one in the news. A couple things here. A site called WP Storybook offers an interactive way to explore various React components that work with WordPress. And it's pretty, so short version, I looked at it, it's above my pay grade. I am not that level of developer to know really how this would help me. It actually doesn't help me, but it's pretty cool. I clicked on it, wp-storybook.netlify.com. I'll put a link in the show notes, it's kind of long. And apparently you can click on, let's say I pick on color picker, basic. It gives me, it gives me a middle area with a grid. I can move the colors, and then it shows me on the right side the action logger. I guess it does make sense to me now. So it's showing me what's going on in the React code base, I suppose. Pretty cool. If you're a developer, I'm sure this is very cool for you to use. Check it out. So it's in the show notes as well. The link will be there. So what else in the news? Oh, also WordPress.com. They launched a national marketing campaign with 14 inspiring sites for 2019. The theme of the campaign is anything is possible. Really cool. I'll put a link in the show notes as well. It's over on blog WordPress.com. Yeah, pretty neat. And there's these videos and like commercial spots. So anyway, how long are these? Let's take a look here real quick. Well, I don't want to play it right now on the air per se, but they're probably not that long. Let's see how long. That one is about a minute each, about a minute and a half each or so. It was perfect. Okay, let me check one more time here. Yeah, minute and a half. Okay, makes sense. Anyway, I'll put a link in the show notes. So that's pretty cool to see WordPress.com marketing on the national level and scale. I think they did one a couple years ago as well, but they're back doing it again. Very cool. All right, moving on. Segment 2, the meat and potatoes of this show of this week. This week is 5 things for the new year. So continuing a bit from last week's conversation about my plans, my predictions, how I did for the year, I was asked by additional people for some more specifics and some suggestions. And, just predictions, the ones I had were kind of a broad stroke, I guess. And people also wanted really more suggestions, what they could do, what business-wise, I think, what it came down to. So with it being the first week of the year, I want to expand a bit on that for what I'll be doing, and I want to offer 5 things that you can do right now. So a bit of a part 2 to last week's episode. So if you didn't listen to last week's, go back and listen to it. I shared some information about the numbers, how I did, expectations, goals, etc. So it's been said, the best time to plant a tree for shade is about 20, 25 years ago. The next best day would be, of course, today, because you got to start sometime. Okay, so I have 5 things here that you can do, that you should do, or you could do, you don't have to, that will help you this year. And the sooner you do these, implement these, I would in essence say the better. Okay, number 1, track expenses deeply. See what I did there? I'm using the deeply here. Right here, right now. This is what I want you to do. I want you to pause this after you hear me say this next line and do this. Go ahead and open an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Doc or Apple Numbers and start tracking your income and your expenses right now. Okay? I did it. I've done this already. And yeah, I've been using FreshBooks off and on inconsistently for the past 2 years, maybe 3 years now. But I already have a spreadsheet going. It's easy. Every month gets a tab, 30 days. Every time I get paid for something, I put it in there. It's going to be duplicate for me until I get into the habit of weekly or monthly putting it in FreshBooks. I want to track it easier and better. I just want a simple way to this is what I made today. If it's 0, it's 0. It's that simple. In the day, put in 0. If you didn't bill for anything, but the days you get paid, literally put it in that document. If you spend money, put it in that document. Pretty simple, right? So go do that right now. I'll wait. Okay, we're back. Okay, so track expenses deeply. Number 2, trim expenses deeply. Okay, now this is also kind of a tough one sometimes for some people, but frugality versus living life versus being cheap. Okay, so Eating out is an easy way to do this. I take this example from my father. He often says, you still got to eat. So eating out once in a while is okay. Daily, not so much. His words, okay? Even when times are tight, things are tough, you still got to live a little bit. There's being frugal, there's being cheap. You got to sometimes get away from it. At a worst case scenario, maybe pack a lunch to go eat outside of your home office if you are a solopreneur, if you are a remote worker. Getting out of the space makes it feel better. Meet a friend for lunch, but in a park. That's like you're eating out. You're not eating at home the same PB&J. Okay. Cut the cord. Literally cut that internet satellite TV cord. We did it years ago. Saved $100 a month. There are lots of free options to watch with just the HD antenna. If you have cable and satellite and Netflix, well, you don't need. All you need is the internet for the Netflix or for Amazon Prime for video, right? And I believe you're more intentional with watching your TV versus having 150 channels where something's always on. You can just flip the channels consistently all day, all night. So back to the meals issue here. Planning meals at least a day out in advance makes that much easier the next day. Less stress, less things to think about. Kind of like the whole concept of wearing clothes, having, quote, a uniform makes it easier. Less mental, like, what do I want to eat? And then make a poor choice. So plan a meal a day ahead. That's not that hard. Okay. And per the number one item about tracking expenses deeply, see what things you really don't need. Maybe it's Audible or Spotify, or even Amazon Prime. It may not be worth having it for the year. And remember libraries? Well, I go at least once a week. I go to work there because I need to get out of the house some days. And they also have ebooks for checkout and audiobooks, and they're free. Pretty cool. So if you cut Audible, if you don't use Amazon Prime, you can still get books and stuff for free through the library. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, implement processes. At onboarding is the one I mentioned last week. At a bare minimum, take some time that you do daily or a weekly basis and that you have in your head and write it out step by step. And I've done this in the past, and I've done it like for the podcast. Why? Because I said so. No, I'm kidding. Because it might be something that eventually you could outsource, which I realize is an investment/expense, which goes against driven expenses. But keep in mind that if you do this process, it could help you earn more income by letting you focus on what you and only you can do. Because you could outsource that. You give somebody a checklist, right? And then you can say, here, somebody I'm hiring for $8, $10, $15 an hour. Do these processes for this, whatever it is that you needed to have done weekly or monthly. And then you can focus on your business versus working in your business. You can focus on it versus in it. So, but implement the process. At least one. Pick one this month. Implement a process. Mine will be onboarding new clients. I've said it before. I said it right now. I will let you know in a month if you remind me. Actually, I should put it on my whiteboard right now. I have to get the onboarding down pat. Well, at least better than it is now, because right now it's terrible. Onboarding new clients about all what I need, the guidelines, etc. So I think if you have a process in place, at least one a month, that's 12 in the year, your business will be that much better. Your life will be that much easier. Okay. Number 4, practice gratitude. Stop worrying about what others are charging or providing or doing, and just be grateful for what we have. The fact that you're listening to this podcast you're really lucky, I guess. I mean, I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that you're listening. And the fact that you have the ability to listen to it is awesome. So, at the end of the day, stop worrying about what others are charging or providing or doing. Just practice the gratitude, take a breath, and So I know it's a little bit of a weird one, but if you do that daily, I think it'll be all that much better. And number 5, get away from the screen. Yeah, we can always work all the time. 24/7 seems like to be the cycle, right? But we shouldn't have to. And like I mentioned over on the other podcast, Get Options podcast, for the predictions and the recap episode we did there, I want to take time off this year, 2-3 times, at least 3-4 days at a time. And I don't want to feel guilty about it. I want to be present with whomever I'm with at that moment. I don't want to be thinking, I have this project to do, or, oh my gosh, this client's going to be upset. I want time away from the screen. I really do. And I'm going to make a strong, concerted effort to make that happen. So there you have it, the 5 ways. Oh, actually, lastly, I want to mention one more thing. It's like, not really, it's not a number here, but someone asked me what my word is of the year. It's a big thing. People say, what's your word, or what's your focus this year? What's the one word? So I have 2 this year. One is momentum, because I believe things in motion stay in motion, whereas things in rest stay at rest. I want to be momentum. I want to keep things rolling and grow the business and the podcasts, and etc. And the other word is hydrate, because I am perpetually dehydrated, apparently, according to my good friend Dustin. I have a hard time drinking water. So I need to figure that out. So those are my two, momentum and hydrate. So, all right. Again, track expenses deeply, trim expenses deeply, implement processes, practice gratitude, get away from the screen. Okay, do those things, put those into place sooner than later, like this month. They're not that hard. These ones are not difficult. If you do one per one of the 5 every month, imagine how the year will turn out to be. Okay, so segment 3, moving on here. Segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This is a website called 750 Words. It's free. I'll put a link in the show notes. I used to write every day. It's just a journal. I used to use the artist's way, and this person has done the same thing. And let me see if I can't get to that link real quick. 750 It's 750words.com is where it's at. Free service, and you get to just write the goal of 750 words a day or every time you want to write. So check it out. It's free. I'm not connected to them at all. It's about 3 pages, etc. So check it out. Like I said, if you're looking to do more writing or blogging or just stream of conscious, maybe it's something you'd be interested in doing. So there you go. Okay, if you have any questions, go ahead and send it in via email. I'm adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe functionality of the website. We'd love to have your voice question on the show for an upcoming Q&A episode. If you want to support the show, you can become a Patreon, KitchensinkWP.com/Patreon. Thank you to those who are supporting the show right now. If you want to sponsor the show, you can do that too. There's a form on the website. Thanks so much for listening. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress, and we'll see you next week. All right, bye-bye.